There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the question burns like fire. How do you know if this is the love of your life, or just another passing illusion? Imagine the fear of giving your heart to the wrong person, only to awaken years later realizing you mistook comfort for destiny. Terrifying, isn't it? Yet the thrill lies in the possibility that love, real love, is not chaos or confusion, but a mirror that reveals your truest self. Let me ask you, have you ever laughed with someone and suddenly felt as though the universe was laughing with you, as though time itself bent to make space for that connection? Strange, almost humorous, how the smallest glance or touch can feel like fate tapping on your shoulder and you think, wait, could this really be it? What unfolds in this journey is not simply romance, but the unfolding of archetypes, commitment, trust, growth, and destiny. And if you miss the signs, you risk losing what was meant to define your life. Stay close, because as we step deeper into this revelation, you will see that love's true signs are not accidents. They are signals from the depths of the psyche, and once you recognize them, everything about your path forward will change forever. A deep connection feels effortless and authentic when it arises not from forced effort, calculated gestures, or the pressure to impress, but from a natural rhythm that seems to flow without obstruction, like two rivers merging into one current. It is the sense that conversation never feels like a performance, silence never feels heavy, and presence never feels draining. You do not have to shape yourself into someone else to be accepted, because the bond itself thrives on truth rather than illusion. When two people share such a connection, they find that honesty is not a struggle, but a reflex. Vulnerability is not a fear, but an invitation, and laughter arises spontaneously without needing to be manufactured. This kind of effortless ease cannot be faked, because it comes from the recognition of something deeper than personality. It is the resonance of values, of outlook, of emotional frequency. Authenticity, in this sense, is the cornerstone, because it creates a space where masks fall away, where flaws are not hidden but embraced, where imperfections are not judged but seen as part of the wholeness of the person. When a bond is authentic, you can argue and disagree without the fear that it will crumble, because the foundation is not built on fragile appearances, but on mutual respect. It feels effortless because you do not have to constantly measure your words or second-guess your actions, and it feels authentic because it brings out the truest version of yourself, not the most polished or rehearsed one. This type of connection defies superficial attraction and fleeting infatuation because it is anchored in something stable and enduring, something that feels both familiar and transformative at the same time. It is the sense that you have known each other longer than the timeline suggests, as though your souls recognize one another beyond logic. And yet, its authenticity also comes from growth, because while it feels easy, it also challenges you to expand, to become more honest, more courageous, more compassionate. A connection that is both effortless and authentic is a rare gift, one that makes life's storms more bearable and its joys infinitely brighter, because it is not dependent on circumstances but on a bond that remains steady in the midst of change. It does not demand perfection, it simply requires presence, and in that presence lies the beauty of knowing that what you share is real. Growth and support flow naturally in both directions when love is not built on a hierarchy of needs or an imbalance of power, but on a mutual exchange where each person invests in the other's well-being with sincerity and without calculation. In such a relationship, progress is not the burden of one, but the shared victory of both, because each step forward taken by one partner is celebrated as though it belonged to them both. True support is not about rescuing or controlling, but about walking alongside, offering strength when the other falters, encouragement when doubt creeps in, and reassurance when the storms of life make vision unclear. This type of partnership feels like fertile soil where both individuals are planted and nourished, their roots intertwined, each drawing strength not at the expense of the other, but in communion with them. It becomes a space where ambition is not met with envy, where vulnerability is not greeted with dismissal, and where dreams are not minimized but expanded together. Growth here does not mean growing apart, but evolving in tandem, complementing one another's weaknesses and amplifying one another's strengths, so that the relationship becomes more than the sum of its parts. What makes this flow so natural is the absence of scorekeeping. Neither partner measures how much they give against how much they receive, because love that is true does not tally sacrifices, but transforms them into joy. Support becomes instinctive, as natural as breathing, because it is rooted in care rather than obligation. When one is tired, the other instinctively lifts. When one is broken, the other becomes the healer. When one doubts, the other becomes the reminder of their worth. This reciprocity is what keeps resentment from taking root, for both know that care will circle back in time, that they will not be left carrying the weight alone. It is not perfect or without conflict, but even conflict becomes a catalyst for deeper understanding rather than destruction, because both are committed to seeing each other rise rather than fall. Growth in such a bond extends beyond personal achievements to spiritual, emotional, and relational dimensions. A partner who supports you in becoming more patient, more kind, more self-aware is not simply helping you grow. They are growing with you, because your transformation inspires their own. The energy of love multiplies when it flows in two directions. It prevents stagnation, complacency, or dependency, and instead creates momentum that keeps the relationship alive and evolving. Each new challenge becomes an opportunity to discover how strong the bond truly is, and each triumph becomes a shared celebration, strengthening the belief that together there is no obstacle too great. Support in this sense also means acceptance, and acceptance is the soil in which growth thrives. When you feel accepted not only for your strengths, but for your flaws, you are free to grow without fear of rejection. A relationship that cultivates growth recognizes that both partners are works in progress, and instead of demanding perfection, it embraces the journey. You are allowed to stumble, to change your mind, to reinvent yourself, because the bond does not cling to a static version of who you were. It honors the evolving truth of who you are becoming. And because this freedom is mutual, both partners feel empowered to step into their highest potential, knowing they are loved in the process, not only at the finish line. The natural flow of growth and support is most visible in the way dreams are held. Instead of seeing a partner's ambition as a threat, true love nurtures it as part of the shared vision. A dream is never yours or mine alone. It becomes ours, because the success of one enriches the life of both. In the same way, fears and struggles are never carried alone. Even when life throws challenges that seem unbearable, the bond becomes a shield, and burdens are divided in a way that makes them lighter. This shared investment creates resilience because it reassures both partners that no matter how hard the road becomes, they are never walking it alone. And yet, growth and support that flow naturally are not always grand gestures. Often they are found in the quiet, unnoticed acts that weave trust into daily life. It is in the way someone listens without interrupting, encourages without judgment, or shows up when it would have been easier to walk away. It is in the subtle reinforcement of dignity and the refusal to let the other settle for less than they deserve. Over time, these small moments of mutual care become the invisible architecture of the relationship, holding it steady through the inevitable tempests of life. Such a bond also creates space for individuality, because true support is not suffocating but liberating. It does not demand sameness but honors difference, recognizing that growth often comes through contrast. When both partners feel free to explore their individuality while still rooted in the connection, they do not fear losing themselves in love. Instead, they find that love enhances who they are, broadening their horizons and sharpening their sense of purpose. In this balance, The relationship becomes both sanctuary and launchpad, a place to return to for comfort and a place to spring from for courage. Perhaps the most profound aspect of this kind of love is that it transcends reciprocity as a transaction and evolves into reciprocity as a natural state of being. It is no longer about giving and receiving as separate actions, but about living in a flow where giving and receiving are indistinguishable. When one lifts the other, they feel lifted themselves. When one sacrifices, they feel rewarded. When one invests, they feel enriched. Growth and support become the essence of the bond itself, an energy that sustains both partners without exhaustion. This dynamic, when nurtured, becomes transformative, not only for the relationship, but for life as a whole. It teaches both individuals how to love beyond self-interest, how to care without condition, and how to rise by lifting another. In the end, a love where growth and support flow naturally in both directions becomes not just a relationship, but a sacred partnership, a union that strengthens identity, amplifies purpose, and anchors the soul in the knowledge that no matter what life brings, there is always someone to lean on, someone to rise with, someone who believes in your unfolding potential as fiercely as you believe in theirs. Trust remains unshaken even in challenges when the foundation of a relationship is built on honesty, respect, and unwavering commitment rather than convenience or fleeting attraction. It is easy to trust when life flows smoothly, when circumstances align, and when happiness overshadows difficulties, but the real measure of love is revealed in moments of trial, uncertainty, and pain. In these times, trust becomes the invisible thread that holds two people together when everything else threatens to unravel. Challenges test the bond, exposing whether it was rooted in surface-level desires or in something deeper that cannot be shaken by temporary storms. When trust is authentic, it does not collapse at the first sign of conflict but becomes stronger because both partners know that their loyalty to one another surpasses the chaos of the moment. Trust that endures through challenges is not naive or blind. It is conscious and deliberate. It grows from consistent actions over time, truth spoken even when it is uncomfortable, promises kept even when inconvenient, respect shown even when emotions run high. This consistency creates a deep inner knowing, a security that allows both partners to lean on one another without fear of betrayal. When adversity strikes, whether through financial struggles, family issues, misunderstandings, or personal hardships, trust is the shield that prevents doubt and suspicion from poisoning the connection. It assures each person that no matter how difficult things become, they are not enemies but allies, not competitors but companions on the same path. When challenges arise, fear often tempts the mind to doubt. Words are questioned, actions misinterpreted, and intentions suspected. Yet in a bond where trust is strong, these doubts do not spiral out of control. Instead, communication steps in as the bridge, and both partners choose to clarify rather than assume, to listen rather than accuse, to protect the bond rather than let pride win. Trust does not mean the absence of conflict, but the ability to believe in one another's heart even when emotions flare. It is knowing that anger does not erase love, mistakes do not erase loyalty, and challenges do not erase the future that has been built together. Such trust also provides emotional safety. It allows both partners to be vulnerable without fear of exploitation, to express fears, insecurities, or failures without worrying that these will be used against them. In moments of challenge, this emotional safety is vital because it transforms obstacles from sources of division into opportunities for growth. When a partner feels safe enough to say, "I am struggling," and knows the other will respond with empathy rather than judgment, trust deepens even further. It becomes a lived experience of being held through storms, and each storm survived together becomes proof that the bond can withstand even greater ones. Trust that remains unshaken also demands patience, for challenges are rarely resolved overnight. There are seasons where one partner must carry more weight, seasons where misunderstandings linger longer than expected, seasons where the external pressures of life make connection harder to maintain. In these times, trust says, "I believe in you, I believe in us, and I believe this will pass." It creates a steady ground when the external world feels unstable, and this steadiness becomes the anchor that keeps the relationship intact. The beauty of trust in challenges is that it transforms difficulties into teachers. Instead of being driven apart, couples learn new ways of communicating, new depths of resilience, and new layers of understanding. Each trial survived becomes part of the shared story, creating a legacy of perseverance that strengthens the bond. Years later, when looking back, the hardest seasons often become the most defining because they revealed the strength of trust in its purest form. Ultimately, trust that does not break under challenges is a reflection of love that is deeper than circumstance. It is the commitment to see beyond the immediate struggle and to hold on to the bigger picture of what is being built together. It is the refusal to let temporary pain destroy something eternal, the decision to stay rooted in faith even when feelings are shaken. Such trust is rare but life-changing because it offers a sense of peace that no challenge can steal. A peace born from the certainty that no matter what comes, the bond will endure. A shared vision of the future feels undeniable when two people discover that their hopes, values, and longings for what lies ahead align so naturally that it feels less like planning and more like uncovering something that was already written for them. It is not about identical dreams or perfectly matched ambitions, but about a harmony of direction where each person sees themselves moving forward together rather than apart. This vision becomes undeniable because it does not require constant negotiation or persuasion. It emerges organically, like two melodies blending into one song without effort. The conversations about what tomorrow looks like are not laced with hesitation or fear, but with excitement and certainty, as if both can already see the life they will build side by side. When this vision is shared, even mundane discussions about where to live, how to grow, or what values to uphold feel like pieces of a greater puzzle falling naturally into place, revealing a picture neither could create alone. This kind of shared future is not only about external goals, such as careers, homes, or families, it is also about the internal journey of who they want to become. Both partners find themselves aligned in their desire for growth, for meaning, for contribution beyond themselves. They see not just the material life they want, but also the emotional and spiritual foundation they long to nurture. Such alignment gives a sense of destiny to the bond, as though the relationship is not simply convenient, but purposeful, guiding them toward a future filled with intention. This makes the vision undeniable because it is not imposed, but discovered, not forced, but revealed through genuine connection. In moments of challenge, this shared vision acts like a compass. When confusion arises or paths seem unclear, both can return to the bigger picture they created together, reminding themselves of why they endure, why they compromise, why they continue forward. This compass gives them resilience, because even if today is difficult, they know what they are moving toward tomorrow. The undeniable vision sustains them in times of doubt, allowing them to see beyond the present moment into the legacy they are building. Without such a vision, relationships can lose direction, but with it, even storms become meaningful because they are part of the journey towards something greater. The authenticity of this vision is felt in the small daily choices. When both partners naturally consider each other in decisions, when sacrifices are made without resentment because they serve the shared dream, when joy comes from seeing the other thrive as much as from personal victories, the vision reveals itself as deeply real. It is undeniable because it is not confined to imagination, it is lived out in practice, step by step. It shapes priorities, creates unity, and instills confidence that whatever lies ahead, it will be faced together. What makes this vision powerful is also its adaptability. It does not mean life will follow a perfect script, but rather that both are committed to rewriting it together whenever needed. Their alignment is not rigid, but alive, able to adjust to changing circumstances without losing its essence. Whether life offers abundance or scarcity, success or struggle, they remain oriented toward the same horizon. This adaptability gives the vision strength because it proves it is not dependent on conditions but on the deeper agreement that their lives are intertwined by choice and intention. The undeniable nature of this shared vision also shows itself in the sense of peace it brings. There is no constant questioning of where the relationship is going, no hidden doubts about whether the other person imagines the same tomorrow. Instead, there is a steady calm, a reassurance that allows both to rest in the knowledge that their futures are connected. This peace does not diminish excitement. It enhances it because both can dream freely, knowing those dreams will be welcomed rather than dismissed. Ultimately, a shared vision of the future feels undeniable because it is both practical and transcendent. It is practical in the way it shapes everyday decisions, finances, family choices, and personal sacrifices, and it is transcendent in the way it provides meaning, direction, and hope beyond the immediate moment. It allows two people to stand together, look out at the horizon, and know with certainty that whatever comes, they are facing it side by side. This certainty is not born from wishful thinking, but from the consistent experience of alignment, the harmony of values, and the mutual dedication to build not just a life, but a legacy together.